Hey, you're listening to Marketing Out Loud, a daily podcast where I share advice, stories, and insights to help you build a thriving consulting or professional services practice. To subscribe to the show, head over to marketingoutloud.fm. For a lot of you, you should simply be charging more. And that it pains me to say that a little bit because it just sounds so simplistic, just charge more. What do you mean just charge more? It's not like it's not a gas station where you change the numbers on the sign and now your price went up. But to be honest, it probably should be that simple for a lot of you. And I'm not even joking. I had a call with somebody today who's thinking about charging, a certain price point for his offer, for his service. And I thought it was way too low. I thought he could easily triple, and I'm not even kidding you, triple 3x his price and not even skip a beat. And we got into the conversation and I said, well, look, I want to better understand your offer. You're going to deliver X, Y, and Z, right? He said, yeah. And that represents the following outcomes for your client, right? Yeah. And that's going to save them from making these mistakes and these costly errors and this time and this money, right? Yeah. Well, what's that worth? And he goes, well, a lot more than what I'm charging. Like, yeah, it is. It's worth a lot more than what you're charging. It's worth probably 5 times more what you're charging. But for starters, let's charge 3 times what you're currently charging, because that's a 300% increase in your fees and therefore revenue. That's a good start. And we'll work our way up to the 5x or the 10x pricing, which is very feasible. And I don't know what it is. Well, I do know what it is. But the reason people get so caught up with pricing is because ultimately they're looking at it from a couple of perspectives, both of which are flawed. One perspective they're looking at it through is the inputs. So they're thinking, well, look, here's how much time it takes me to do this work, and here's my roughly my hourly rate. And even if I don't want to bill by the hour, I'm still kind of pegging the value of my work to this hourly rate because that's my time, and that's how I think about my time. And we've all been socialized in the professional services world to think about hours and hourly rates. So I bill $100 an hour, and this is going to take me 10 hours, so it's $1,000. So then when I come along and say, well, you should be charging $10,000 for it, they're like, what? But it's $1,000. It's 10 hours of work. How am I going to charge $10,000? There's this huge delta, and they almost feel unjustified, and they feel like that's price gouging, right? That's like exorbitant. That's taking advantage of people. That's the first mistake. The second mistake that people make here is, I forget what it was. I had 2 points. The second mistake, it'll come back to me in a second, is that people look at the value of the service they provide and not the value of the outcome that they deliver. And there's a big difference. So if you ask me, for example, what it's worth to me to have somebody mow my lawn, simple example. Well, what's it worth to have somebody mow my lawn? Well, I figure that's probably something I could pay $20 an hour for. It's not a highly skilled job. Probably takes about an hour, so it's worth $20. But if you ask me, what's it worth to me to have the nicest lawn on the street? What's it worth to me for my wife to be happy with the lawn and the way it's being cared for and the way that our house looks when we have guests come to visit? Well, that question does not lend itself to a $20 an hour calculation. That's worth a lot more. That's a value question now. It's a value-based model. Right now I'm thinking about what the outcome is worth to me, and it's whatever you land on, it's higher. And that's the mistake that this consultant I spoke to earlier today was making, is he was thinking about, the service is worth probably about this much, and probably pegging that according to his hourly rate, which is probably pegged to what he's currently earning as a full-time employee. That's the wrong model. That's the wrong framework. The real question is, what is it worth to the client to achieve the outcome that they can achieve with your help? Well, that's a whole lot more expensive. And you're not going to charge that full amount. Maybe it's worth $100,000 to them, but you're going to charge 10. And then it becomes a simple proposition to the client. You stand to make $100,000 or save $50,000 or create this much value for your organization. We're going to charge you this much, which is a very small fraction of that, but it's much higher than you otherwise would have charged or they would have paid if you were basing your pricing model on inputs. So that's the simple shift to make. Wanted to share that with you because chances are, I'm not a betting man, but if I had to bet, for most of you, you could probably double or triple your prices just like that, like really easily, and be able to justify it with a value-based pricing model. Hope that helps. Hey, thanks for listening. Do me a favor, if you like what you hear, go on iTunes and leave us a rating and a review because it helps more people discover the show. Thanks so much.